morning children. Now in this part of the video I'm going to explain about the human respiratory system. Of course last week I had sent the video regarding this 3D animated video, but there are some smaller points which I want to explain further. Okay, like before only I told a nasal cavity. What is the function of nasal cavity? It helps to filter the air because it is lined by fine hair, plus there is a mucous membrane which helps to filter the air. You see this pharynx, they ask what is function of pharynx. Pharynx is common both for the nasal cavity and for this oral cavity, buccal cavity. So it acts as a common passage for air also and for food also. And down this pharynx continues to form larynx. Larynx is our voice box. It helps us to speak. Okay. And further this larynx continues to form trachea or the windpipe. What is the role of trachea? It acts as a passage tube through which the air further passes down to reach the lungs. One question they ask is, what is the importance of this C-shaped cartilage tissue? This C-shaped cartilage tissue, it helps to prevent the collapse of the trachea. So it helps to give support to this windpipe. And further this trachea divides to form bronchi, singular bronchus. So this is the tube which enters inside the lungs and divides further to form primary bronchioles, secondary bronchioles, and finally it forms it ends into balloon-like structure known as alveoli. If I were to draw a single alveoli, it will appear like this. As earlier I told, all the areas where exchange of gases occur, they will be having thin surface, they will be highly folded, and they will be covered by blood capillaries. Why? Because from the alveoli, the oxygen enters into this blood capillaries. From the blood capillaries, the carbon dioxide will come outside. So for this exchange of gases, these are all specially designed, and we have got large number of alveoli inside the lungs. One more question they ask is, breathing is rhythmic. We inhale, we exhale. But exchange of gases is continuous process. Why it is continuous? How is it possible? It is possible because our lungs always have some amount of air inside them. We call it as residual volume of air. Because of presence of air, this exchange of gases between the alveoli and the blood capillaries is continuous. But the breathing is rhythmic. Okay. Another question they ask is, what is the mechanism of breathing? Which muscles help us to breathe? There are two important muscles. This one, diaphragm. This helps us to breathe. This is first muscle. Another second muscle that helps to breathe is the muscles which are attached to this. These are the rib bones that I have drawn. Muscles will be attached to these rib bones. If I shade it like this, and see, these are the intercostal muscles. So rib muscles and the diaphragm muscles, it is they which help us to breathe. How? When these two contract, the diaphragm comes down, so the chest cavity gets expanded. Downwards it gets expanded. Lungs also expand. And rib muscles at the same time, they also contract and they expand the chest cavity like this, outwards. They slightly outward, in an outward manner, the chest cavity is expanded and they also raise it. It is like this. If I show it sideways, the rib muscles contract and this chest cavity, which is initially like this, it gets expanded slightly and it's get elevated. Okay, so in both the ways, see, downwards also it expands, sideways also it expands, so lungs also automatically expand and hence air rushes in. While exhaling, the process is reverse. Both this diaphragm and the rib muscles, they relax. As a result, everything comes back to its original form and the air is exhaled out. Okay. Okay. When exchange of gases occurs in lungs, and we have seen how from the alveoli the oxygen enters into the blood. From that blood capillary present in the lungs, how is oxygen transported and how is carbon dioxide brought inside the lungs? For this transportation of gases, certain mechanism is there. For example, oxygen is transported with the help of a special pigment known as hemoglobin. You are aware that this hemoglobin, it is a red color pigment found in the red blood cells, RBC, and this hemoglobin is hence known as respiratory pigment. Why it is called respiratory pigment? Because it helps to transport this respiratory gas, this oxygen. Can't oxygen be transported without hemoglobin? It can be transported through diffusion, but the process will be very slow. For example, it will take oxygen to travel from nose to the cells present in your feet. It will take 3 years if it were to depend only on diffusion. But hemoglobin carries it very fast because hemoglobin has got very high affinity for oxygen. It binds easily, and as it is present in the RBC, it is transported very efficiently by the blood. What about carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide does not require any special pigment because carbon dioxide is readily soluble in water. Hence it dissolves in the plasma, blood plasma. So it is transported in the dissolved form. Then the question arises, why oxygen can't be transported through the same way? The reason is oxygen is less soluble in water. That is why it cannot be transported in the dissolved form. This same reason applies to aquatic organisms. One question they ask, in case of aquatic organisms such as fish, they have got higher breathing rate. Means they will be breathing faster. If you see fish, it will be opening its mouth continuously, opening, closing, because it is breathing faster. Why do aquatic organisms breathe faster? Because oxygen dissolves less in water. So comparatively, they need to have a faster breathing rate compared to whom? Compared to we, the terrestrial organisms. Because for us, oxygen is freely available in the air. So we have a lower breathing rate compared to aquatic organisms. So that is the advantage which we have. Okay. How does respiration occur in plants? They don't have lungs like us, but the basic mechanism of respiration is same. They are also aerobic. So respiration in plants occurs aerobically in the same cell organelle, that is mitochondria. Plant cells, they also have mitochondria like the animal cells. So inside this mitochondria, that glucose breakdown chart explains how glucose gets broken down into pyruvate. Pyruvate is further broken down to form carbon dioxide, water, and energy. That same process occurs in the plant cell. The only difference lies in how they take in the gases. Okay. Plants during daytime do not require oxygen from outside because they only perform photosynthesis. See, this is a Brahma Kamala plant, this is Tulsi plant. They all have stomata on the lower surface. Okay. So from this lower surface, they take in carbon dioxide and produce oxygen during the process of photosynthesis. But night time, for respiration purpose, they start taking in the oxygen from the stomata. How do we see this stem? This stem part also has small opening known as lenticles. So through this stem also they start taking in gases. Exchange of gases occurs through stem also, through leaves also. Even in case of this Tulsi plant also, even though this is not green in color, but they will be all having opening through which they take in gases. So plants, they perform respiration 24 hours. Okay, but whether they require oxygen or not, that depends upon whether it is day or night. During night time they take in oxygen from atmosphere, during daytime they only produce it.